Welcome back, grade 6, to the second video for today's lesson. And what we're looking at today is now multiplying and rounding off decimals. All right, so for multiplication, we already know that if you multiply by powers of 10, there's a couple of ways we could do it. We could either slide the number, or as I have mentioned before, you could actually slide the comma. Now, this is where sliding the comma actually makes a lot more sense, because you can see that the way the comma actually goes. So I'm just going to use examples again straight from the textbook exercise 15.5 right there. And I'm just going to take an example. Say, for example, I'm going to do this one and this one as well. So let's say you got 0.5 times 10. So what you're doing is you're taking the 0.5, and then because you're multiplying, it means that you're moving your comma to the right, all right? And you go one place. Why one place? Because you only have 1 0 right there. So your comma comes right there, and then your answer becomes a 5 equals to 5 there. Similarly, if I have 22.3 times 10, this tells me that I'm moving my comma only once, and this tells me I'm moving it to the right. Okay, so I've got 22.3, and I'm moving my comma to the right, so it comes here. So my answer is going to be 223. All right, you guys. So similarly, again, they say maybe I'm multiplying, let's say 0.23 times 1,000, just for interest's sake. I'm going to come and write, this is going to tell me that this is going to be 3 places. I'm going to move my comma 3 places. And how am I going to move it? Because it's a multiplication, I'm going to move it to the right. And so I'm going to write my 0.23. And then I'm going to move my comma 1, 2, 3. So which means that there's supposed to be a placeholder 0 there, because that's where my comma is going to go after a digit. And there was no digit, and so therefore it means by default the placeholder value is going to be 0. So my answer here is going to be 213. That's for this particular question. All right, grade 6. All right, well done. Now going off to rounding decimals, there is no difference to what we've done before. Concerning rounding off, we know that if the next digit is going to be less than 5, then our digit remains the same. But if our digit is going to be 5 or more, then our digit is going to increase by 1. So there's going to be no difference there. And again, you see this in the worksheets that I gave you. So if I have 28.7, in this particular case, the same to the nearest unit, and the unit is this one here. So we look at the next one, and this is a 7, which is greater than 5. So essentially, which means that we have to add a 1 there. So our answer here is going to be a 29. So let's take another one, 69.72. All right, and to the nearest unit, we're going to come right there. This is where the units are. We'll look at the next digit, which is a 7, and 7 is greater than 5. So which means that we're going to have to add a 1 here, but that makes it a 10. So because it makes it a 10, it rolls over, so that becomes a 70. So our answer right here is going to be a 70. Is that okay, you guys? So that's essentially how we do the rounding off for decimals. There's absolutely no difference to what we've been doing before. Now moving on to the next one, which is going to be comparing and ordering decimals. Now I would advise you that when you're comparing or ordering decimals, first thing that you need to do is to make sure that all units are the same. Always look for consistency, guys, remember that. And at the same time, if they're not the same, change units, like we've said before, to their smallest unit. That way you avoid decimals and stuff like that, because they can be a bit tad annoying. But if you can work with larger numbers, then you can change to any other unit that you're comfortable with. But I will normally change, for example, into a smaller one. That way I avoid decimals where possible. And then when you now compare them, my advice will be to write them one on top of the other. Let's take an example of a question. It says that who lives closest to school and who lives furthest from school. In this case, closest means that it's supposed to be the least distance, I guess. And then who lives the furthest means it's supposed to have the most intensive distance. So least is learners in order from closest to school to furthest from school. And we'll take, for example, this particular question right here. All right, so I put questions for greater than and less than in your worksheets for practice. So because the first thing I'm going to look and see these are all kilometers, so there's absolutely no need for me to make any conversions there. But if there was meters somewhere, then I'll need to convert everything into meters because meters is smaller, but there isn't. So what I'm going to do is to make sure that I write one on top of the other. Now what I need you to make sure is that the commas are in a straight line. So this is 7,43, all right? And then the next one is 7,23. Whoops. 7,23. I need the commas to be in a straight line. The next one is 7,32. Then last one is 7,24. Okay. Now what I do is I compare the first digits, just like we did at the very beginning of this term, comparing digits, ordinary numbers. All right, we'll look at the first digits and then we see which one is bigger, which one is smaller, but they're all the same, so we can't tell from the first digit because they're all 7. And then we'll look here, and then here we'll look at which one is the largest and which one is the smallest. Already we can tell that this is the largest number because we got a 4 there, so this is the largest, and therefore this is going to be the person who is the furthest, right? And then we'll look at the smallest. The smallest are going to be 2 of those here, which are 2's actually. So which means to be able to differentiate which one is the least between those two, we need to look at the third digit or the second decimal place, which in this case is going to be given by this 4 right here. So our answer is going to be, this one is going to be the least. So we come to our solution as to order this now. The same, we're supposed to order them from the person who's closest, which means it's got the least distance. So we got a 7. Ooh, let me see if I can be able to fit this. 7 point. Okay, technology 7.24, followed by the next one will be 7.25, followed by 7.32, followed by 7.43. So the last one is going to be the one who's furthest from the school, and then you continue doing that with all the others as well. But otherwise, I don't think there's anything that is very difficult from what we've done before. The only difference is now we've got decimal commas, which may be a bit annoying or a bit intimidating, but there is nothing that you cannot do with what you've learned so far, even with whole numbers as well. Okay, grade 6s. Okay, I wish you the best of luck. If you have any questions, feel free to jump straight onto the group and ask your questions, and I will help you as soon as I get to the question. Otherwise, enjoy your day, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Goodbye.